You know what workplaces rarely have on-site HR, but are probably the ones that most need HR? Restaurants.
Oh, absolutely. People always say that, right? There's no HR in restaurants, but there should be.
Yeah, God.
I started out, and I mean from quick service restaurants, which some people call fast food. In the industry, we call it quick service.
Yes.
To like the fine dining.
Oh, yeah.
There is some, I guarantee you, your finest meal, if you could see a peek behind that into the dishwashing station, into the line, the language. I mean, I think
it's delicious.
Oh my God. Like the biggest education.
I'm like, the language is fine.
Right? I was like, oh.
Potty mouth Jamie.
I grew up every year growing up, except for when I worked in a restaurant, when I grew about 10 years in 2 months. Meaning that I learned, all of a sudden I went from 17-year-old, 16-year-old, Ashley, innocent AF, to still innocent, but have heard like gasped. I worked at an Italian restaurant in Louisville, and it was the most fun workplace because it was one of those situations that like all my friends and I worked there. And also we worked with then like the crew that was like in their 20s, had worked in restaurants for a while. And then we had some of the lifers.
30s.
Yes.
That like that. And then the restaurant owner and the language, like, you have a customer complaint, like a customer complain about, this is why I would never complain in a rrestaurant. Because I'd be like, excuse me, the woman at table 4, she had, fuck her, you get the fuck out of here. Tell her she could suck my, oh my God. She said it was undercooked. Undercooker, motherfucker, you're just like,
I will translate that for her.
Yes, and
Our apologies.
And also I was like 17, but this job I was making so much money because it was in cash. I wanted to save for spring break.
Yeah.
I didn't want to get in trouble, so I certainly didn't tell my parents what it.
Well, of course not.
Invite until later. My parents but it was like I remember they'd like run out once we ran out of. A cheesecake, and so we ran out of the strawberry sauce for the top, and he was like, the owner was like, "Yo, good the fuck, I'll get my motion lotion, fucking put it on the," and I have no idea what he's talking about. I'm like, okay,
motion,
and I'm like Motrin, like
a little
lotion, and I'm like, anyway, here comes this jar of stuff. On there to this day.
He put his lube on there. He put his strawberry lube on there.
From the back office, whatever it was. I just remember being like, what in the actual? Once we ran out of lasagna, go to the Kroger, get some
No,
Stouffer's.
Literally, I've had to do that.
We sold it, we have no doubt. We sold $3.99, lasagna for $32.99, well, this is the 90s, supposedly
Stouffer's
$17.
is legit.
Yeah,
it is.
I like
for sure. Oh my God, like come home from the bar in college, I would pay $100. Didn't have $100. Would have paid that though for some Stouffer's lasagna.
So funny.
But like every ounce of that. So anyway, but like the things that go on, like the complaint mechanism. And so, but it's like, but that's where like the hotline, when you're getting those hotline complaints, like if you get one hotline complaint from a restaurant, it is like Pandora's box that's like, looking to get up, because when someone finally is the canary in the mine squealing, it is, there's a lot of shit that goes down in restaurants.
Well, I mean, have y'all seen the movie Waiting?
Oh, yeah.
No.
You should.
My God.
Is it new or old?
It's very accurate.
It's old. Ryan Reynolds is
classic.
in it. It's such a good movie. But like
they're
when
coming,
you said old, I
they're
was
coming
thinking
in
like
the food.
1920s. Now
Yeah,
Ryan Reynolds
no,
is
it's
like,
not like a.
No, seriously, like watch it on the plane.
Okay.
It's so good, but it is so true. Like
it is.
It's almost not even exaggerated. Like a little bit.
It's what you just described.
Yeah, it is literally.
It was the best of times.
Amazing.
And it was the most fucked up of times. It's most of the restaurants.
And I mean, and you know what's funny too, though, is like there's so much drugs.
All the drugs.
Well, I learned that later.
There were all the drugs.
I did not at the time. I didn't partake.
Well,
I knew.
I didn't either when I worked at the restaurant industry. But I mean, like it was like probably 95% of the staff was fucked up.
Oh, really?
Yeah, growing their own weed in their closets.
Yeah,
right.
Or drunk too.
Oh, yeah.
Because they had free access to alcohol.
Yeah, like I was drinking in a restaurant job. We would just put the margaritas in the styrofoam cups.
Yeah.
Behind the hostess stand there. You know what I mean? And there's the 40-year-old bartender. Creeping that out to teenage hostesses.
Exactly. I was about to say they don't care. You're 17. Who cares?
Exactly. Anything goes. You're the same age. You're all the same age in a restaurant. I swear.
I was
right?
Totally. And
right.
Everyone's
25 at the restaurant.
I was 17, but we served alcohol, and also no one ever trained me on alcohol service. I was I was 17 when I worked there. In Kentucky, he would say, tell people you're 20 in a day because that's how old you had to be. And I looked like I was about 12. And so,
oh my gosh.
And I was literally like, I just turned 20, you know, whatever. A few days ago, you know, same. I mean, I would like feel like my peers were all of a sudden 37 and I'd never been around this young. But I was such a loser. I would buy beer from the restaurant owner, or he'd be like, pay me in like, you know, instead of wait, like, can you work an extra hour? I'll give you a couple beer, you know, a couple beer. Okay. But then I would get so nervous about drinking them.
You're just supposed to steal it from the restaurant. Like, I'm so confused. I'm like, wait, what?
I would get so nervous. I would return them, and they've been sitting in a gym bag for like a week, and I'd return. And he'd be like, I don't know what the fuck you're giving me back. Like, and I'd be like, I'll just take the money instead. He's like, I'm not fucking giving you any money. Like, I'll give you some like dessert, and I'd be like, oh yeah, that's also fine. Like,
give me some of your motion lotion. Give me a squirt.
I distinctly remember going in the day that the New York Times or whoever had done the expose on Bill Clinton and Monica Lewinsky. Oh. And there he was sitting in the back office. That back office is like, my God, like the.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God, yeah.
But he had his feet up on the desk reading the newspaper, which seems surprising given everything else that's going on. I mean, his commentary on that whole thing of like, who wants to be my Lewinsky tonight? You know, you're like, hands down. But again, with my friends, but what we've talked about is work besties. You know, we would just be like, you know, just ignore him. But the HR support is needed at those. Like, that's not okay.
It's totally non-existent. That was one of my funnest jobs. Working at the Chewy's.
It's the Chewy's. Wait, which one was it? Chewy's or Chili's?
But I called it Chili's in the interview.
I can't remember.
I was like, I've always wanted to work at Chili's, and they're like, we're called Chewy's. I mean, I've always wanted to work at Chewy's.
Whatever. But I am. I've never. When I'm at Chili's, I always think of you. But I should go to the Chewy's instead. Oh yeah, my memory is flawed.
You could eat off the floor of that kitchen. Props. Shout out to Chewy's. Okay. Love Chewy's out of Austin. You can. Okay. I promise. You know, a very clean place. But that kitchen though. The chefs love me.
Clean
free
and
food
the
every night.
Clean. Above the floor is dirty. The dirty talk.
Dirty talk. I think I gained 20 pounds in that job. Pretty easily.
Okay.
You know, because the chefs, they just make you. I was just eating for free, and I mean, you know, drinking for free.
I feel like everyone needs to work.
Oh boy, customer service.
Well, a retail job and a restaurant job.
We share an alma mater. Kmart, Sears, yeah.
Like, because I swear to God, I learned human nature.
Oh yeah,
totally.
Like in those help two jobs. Oh, for sure. Yeah, I mean, it's part of the reason why I'm in HR now. I swear to God.
Yeah.
Because just learning, and I just was so fascinated by how fucking crazy people were.
Yeah,
they are crazy.
But like the best innovators are in those. Yeah. Like my electronics supervisor at Kmart, she would hate if the district managers come in, you know, I never told you this shit, but this is what we do, and she'd have the regulars that come in, and she'd be like, you know, they are the most efficient, real people, and that's the problem. Is so many leaders have not had that experience.
Thank you.
And that's one of having that experience and grown up in that has absolutely shaped my perspective.
Absolutely.
And I think I completely agree. I think everybody needs that, not just in an undercover boss type of peekaboo.
Oh yeah,
live that life.
Yeah, not just for the day.
Well,
undercover boss, right?
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
I mean, I'm telling you, like, I actually look for that on a resume. It's not a no-go if you don't have that.
Yeah.
But I know if you survived like a year at like some retail and then a year at a restaurant or something, I'm like, oh yeah. You're a tough bitch. I like you. Yeah.
That's right.
Oh gosh. Well, we appreciate that glimpse behind the restaurant curtain, or in the restaurant behind. What are those doors called?
What are those?
The flappy doors.
French doors? Double door.
Oh, the double doors. Right. The shoot doors.
Someone's gonna let us know.
Something like that. I know. Someone will DM me.
Oh my God.
Something just fell behind me.
A light.
Oh, a light just fell behind me.
Oh my God.
We're good. It's lit.
It's lit up in here.
It's lit.
Parlay.
That's a good
Please
blooper.
Feel free to keep this in.
Ooh. Oh gosh.
It's kind of funny.
Yeah. All right. Well, a light just fell behind me. It's like a magnetic light and whatnot. I'm okay. I mean, everything's fine. Nothing touched me. Lawsuit. Nah. All right.
Don't slip and fall, but if you do, let me know.
Exactly.
That's right. We'll take care of it.
So we enjoyed a little hot goss from the water cooler with Ashley there. We're going to transition, of course, into our cringe corporate speak to officially kick off this meeting, and Jamie is going to provide that for us. So thank you in advance, Jamie. And then we will transition to our meeting hot topic, which today it is all about bringing our personal lives to work. What does that mean? Should we do it? All of the above, right? So we'll turn that inside out a little bit for you. And then as always, we will conclude and wrap up our meeting with some questions and comments. So Jamie, what do you got for us today?
So today it is move the needle.
Oh.
So I know I have not personally used this, but I've definitely been in the space where it is used. Ashley just used it a second ago. She did.
Sorry.
So it's okay. We're all recovering corporate.
Yeah.
I don't know what, corporate girlies maybe?
Professionals.
Yeah. Oh, girlies. Okay.
Or that,
or in my case, corporate satty.
Exactly.
So Ashley, how do you interpret move the needle?
Like another way to say it that is, I think, slightly less syllabatically.
The fuck was it?
I'm sorry.
Like syllabatically, like what?
Wait.
Syllabatically? Like syllables, less syllables, I think, overall.
Is that a word for real? Syllabatically?
I don't know. I'm sure someone will tell us.
I mean, I love it. Say it again for real.
Don't say this in a meeting because then you're going to get the same reaction. Syllabatically?
Okay. I mean, I make up words all the time.
You say something confidently because Lee right now, she has a trust that I know what I'm talking about. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. But syllabatically, I don't think it's whatever.
But
anyway.
Now it's a word now.
I'm not going to self-deprecate. I'm going to be very confident. Syllabatically.
I ain't going to tag you though.
Yeah.
Syllabatically.
Excuse me, Webster's dictionary.
Say it again.
Syllabatically.
Okay. Syllabatically.
So syllabatically, you could say.
I'm a slut for a syllable though. Y'all know that.
Oh shit, it's the same number. Make a difference. Which should be difference.
Like
it should be needle? 3, but I'm from Kentucky, so it's 2 syllables. Difference. Yeah. Make a difference. Like move the needle. It's basically the idea of like if you're going to spend time on something, it's not really gonna no one's going to give a shit, and so or it's not going to make that much of a difference. So you generally hear it if it's not going to move the needle. So it's telling someone you're going to put their idea in the parking lot, like you're going to forget it. I'm trying to say that in a slightly polite way.
See, I always hear it positive.
Yeah, same.
Yes. Trying to move the needle?
Yeah, we got to move the needle.
We're trying to move the needle.
You're right. No, that's fair.
Like, like maybe we're making a difference, so we're moving that needle.
Okay, that's true. That is true.
We got to move the needle.
We got to move the needle. Right. I'm always getting, now you can hear the thing. I'm always getting shut down. Shut down. My ideas are shit.
Well, that isn't going to move the needle, Ashley.
We're gonna make this podcast a record-breaking podcast by using strong words like syllabatically. It's not going to move the needle.
Oh,
moving the needle up the charts.
That's right. Okay.
But you know what? I just had kind of an epiphany.
Okay.
I think that move the needle, and one of y'all will fact check me or someone will DM me. I don't know. But does it literally mean a record? Like think of it, moving the needle of a record on a record player. To the next song, like you're progressing.
Well, I don't know.
I think that doesn't that seem legitimate?
I have Jamie. I'm gonna steal
it ain't
Jamie's
the space
phone.
Needle. What needle is it?
I was thinking if it's like the temperature.
So was I. The decimals of volume.
We don't even know. We don't even know. We don't even know what we're saying.
Decimals?
I said decimals, but I meant decibels.
Decibels. See, we don't even know. We're just saying all this shit in our lives, and we don't even know what it means.
That's right. I know.
You know, like, but when you think about it, we're saying all this shit. Power of language. You know, and it may have a racist origin. It may have a sexist. You know what I'm saying? Like there's all this.
So the phrase "moving the needle" dates from the Industrial Revolution. In Britain, it was first used to measure the speed of a steam engine. I'm flapping this like I'm with a gauge on the train's dashboard.
Okay.
And then the 1980s it took on in the form of key performance indicators. So it's brought into corporate speak.
Oh, I thought you were going to say record because of the 80s. I was like,
that should have been, but no. So it's like the train. So it is kind of like that speeding up. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, okay. Well, there. Okay. Yeah. Let me move the needle.
For some reason, that's what I'm envisioning too.
Yeah.
Like that's when I. So let's try to sneak that in.
Let's try to move the needle.
Let's try to move the needle on moving the needle. Isn't that great? Oh gosh. Well, transitioning to our hot topic. That's a wonderful pivot point. Let's move the needle forward. And today we are talking about all things bringing our personal lives to work. What does that mean to you, Jamie? Bringing your personal life to work.
Well,
Is it good or bad?
I think it can be good. I like to be authentic. So I know I've said it probably a million times, but I am 100% me 100% of the time. Like, you're not going to catch me with this fake professional persona. Like, I'm me, and I'm authentic, but being personable, like that's how I take it personally.
Yes.
Now, granted, sometimes I am with my clownal presence. I do have to tone it down. Like, I can't be in a termination meeting telling my little jokey jokes. But that's, I do like to share about my children or my husband, or, like I like bringing some sort of personal level, and I like learning about the employees' like personal lives outside of work. But when does it cross the line?
Yes.
Ooh. I mean, it can cross the line. I mean, you can look at like, you can hear people right now that'll be like, you talk about your kids and husband. Like, and I know we talk about, like, we talk about things amongst each other with personal lives. You won't hear us on this podcast talking about that much of things because we try to keep the focus. And so we bring our personalities into it. But I listen to podcasts sometimes and they're going on for 15 minutes about like the things they did that weekend, and it's like, like they're like,
no one fucking cares.
I am, honestly. I'm sometimes kind of like, okay.
No one fucking cares.
100%.
Let's move the needle on this content.
And so that's the same of like, if you're in that, just being where I think it can cross the line in large part is if you stop and think like, I talk a lot about myself, but I don't know things about other people. And that's where I think leaders can get tripped up is they think that everyone cares about them, but they don't take that time and get invested.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's because you haven't had those conversations, so it can feel awkward. That's why I always say it's never too late to change the way that you work in any semblance. But like as a leader, stopping and saying to people, like, even like acknowledging that, saying like, there's questions that I realize, like, I'm embarrassed. Like, I'm embarrassed. I should know this about you. Like tell me these things. And so sometimes it's also like people don't want to hear it. People don't want to hear about your kid's soccer game. They really not to the level that some people go into it.
Oh yeah,
to extensive levels. Like if your parents on the same thing, fair. But like a lot of times people will just be like, this means I'm gonna have to stay late to work on shit, and I don't want to hear about that. But I might actually ask you, like, hey, did little Johnny win?
I would be like that.
But that's where like the EQ
exactly.
comes in. The emotional intelligence comes in.
Yeah.
You can tell, like, if you can stop and tell. And some people have a hard time. Some people have a very hard time telling.
Yeah.
Especially if you're neurodivergent, you can't read people's signals. So sometimes it's just so in that semblance, literally sometimes it can be thinking about from a time perspective. Okay, I'm going to talk about this for a minute and a half, generally about my personal life, and then I'm going to ask them, and I'm going to have that time component. So that can be a way, if candidly you realize you have a hard time reading that. But then there's other people that like they don't want to share, and so that's why I say with a team, just saying as someone starts saying, you may hear some members of our team, they'll talk about things. Please don't feel like you're welcome to share. Because one thing I don't like, and I'll stop in a second, is like when people are like, well, people ask me for time off. I tell people, stop. Don't tell me what you're doing on your time off.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, well, that's also like there's some people that want to talk, want to talk about things they do in personal. So it's just about finding your people that want to talk about those things. Lee.
Yeah. Huh?
Lee.
Lee. Oh, my. Oh,
sorry,
what am I want to say about this? Oh,
well, like I'm like my internal joke.
I know. Yeah. So you're like literally, you were like, ding, I'm done. Transition.
I'm in my mind. I'm thinking about later when I'm going to Google syllably and how I'm going to spell that and these things. And do Lee and Jamie want to know about me? What are they? So I'm spiraling right now. So I'm gonna.
She's spiraling. She's spiraling.
Like I always ask for permission too.
Like, may I please tell you about myself? How do you do that?
Well, kind of like, so for instance, if I'm talking to someone,
like,
got a minute.
Like I'm thinking specifically like with my team. If I'm like, oh, do you have anything fun going on this week? You do not have to share if you're uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like, I've always done that with people, even with like people in like the office. Like if I'm just walking around and someone's like, oh, I went to, Beer Fest this weekend. I'm like, oh my God, was that fun? I'm like, you don't actually, and I think
you're like, did you get arrested? You don't have to tell me.
I think that's because I'm HR.
I'll search the mugshots online. I'll go deep.
Well, I think that's because I'm HR and I want people to feel safe.
Your honesty.
But I also don't want them to feel like
to wonder why.
Yeah. So I almost ask like permission, like, but please feel like you don't have to answer me or if this is, so that's, I don't know. I guess I've been uber conscious of that, not even realized that.
Well, I do think we've said that in HR. I do think you have to think about that because people are
like asking permission almost like, if you don't want to share this is okay.
Yeah. I do love that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's a thing.
Yeah.
That should be a thing, right? You don't want to make someone uncomfortable.
Well, exactly.
But, for me with this one, bringing personal lives to work, I do truly believe that we bring our whole selves with us wherever we go, right? And we are all very unique individuals. But the best workplaces for me are those that create safe spaces where people can truly be themselves, right? Like, out in the open. Yeah. Because think about workplaces where you didn't feel the fit, like it felt ick. Physically probably working there. It was the ones where you had to mute yourself in some way. You had to do the copy paste thing. Literally been told tone it down. Literally have been told mute myself, right? And what I have learned and why I am probably completely unemployable at this point. Oh my God, bitch can't keep a job. Is because really why I had to work for myself at this point is because at this age, especially, what a privileged thing to say, but it's like I love being me and I really want to be here all the time. I want to be her all the time. Yeah. But what I've noticed and recognized, especially in a corporate culture, we're talking more professional culture here. I could probably be me at the fuck out of me in like a restaurant.
Right.
But in a more corporate culture where being different is sometimes bad, just facts, right? Yeah. We all have our language and our cultures and, they want people to fit in and stay in line and all of this. Sticking out gets you a lot of hate. Yeah. It gets you a lot of haters in the workplace that intentionally sabotage you. I mean, just real talk, right? And so as much as I love to be myself, it makes other people feel bad about themselves watching somebody else be themselves 3 shits to the wind. Yeah. I just made up that adage. See, it was like 3 shits, but not. It wasn't about being drunk. It was like me not giving shits or fucks. You see that?
I'm going to credit you. I like that. I like
making up shit today. My God. But I'm at that point where I don't give a fuck that I make, the Sierra Churro feel bad about themselves. Yeah. Or, that's a you problem. Right. You could do this too. Yeah. I
have to say, like, I've been very pleasantly surprised. And part of this was, I think, being in legal in particular, where like, you think I have found myself. Yeah. And like, I've felt very fortunate to be in situations where I felt like I could be myself and had laughs at work, and even some of those environments where like you wouldn't think so. And so there are some of the like some, and it's some of those like, and I'm thinking assistants, bosses all over the place where we've had like so many laughs at work and things. And I'm like, I mean, I am like a probably clownal. I mean, I also work my ass off and work really fucking hard. Presence. But I felt like I can see situations, and I've had those situations where I felt like I couldn't be myself, and it's like you feel like say like as a manager, letting your team feel like be a pair of like comfy joggers to your team, give them some room where they can do things, but don't be a tight. But like there's been environments, there's been environments where I felt like I was wearing tight jeans, like tight just out of the dryer jeans,
the non-sitting jeans.
The non-sitting jeans.
I wore those last season. I had that.
And so, but one thing I'll say is the bringing your personal life. The flip side is being super mindful that a lot of people don't feel comfortable with personal lives and certain things. Like you'll have employees that won't celebrate birthdays, and even in like we're in like this private HR group, and sometimes people say this person doesn't want their birthday. Like what the fuck is that? And you're like, well, some of that is some of there's religions that they don't. Jehovah's Witnesses do not celebrate birthdays, and there's other people that don't want their personal information. People, and so and they're like, I saw one recently that was something that was like, oh, this person on my team, we're doing marketing videos. They don't want to be in them. Is that a sign they're looking for another job?
It's like, no, motherfucker. They just don't want to be on camera.
Well, that's the thing is like, just it's the same. Then people like, and I'll get it frequently of like, oh, someone's taking medical leave. What should I say to the team? And I generally say to someone, ask that person. Yeah. Ask that and say to that person, people are going to ask and say, I'm happy to say, this is, private information. I said, but if what is your level of comfort? Because and I just said, my number one advice to people frequently is ask the person what they're comfortable with and be comfortable telling people like, that's private. And so I can't, I'm not going to share that, but a lot of times people will like just follow someone's lead in asking them, because that's the flip side of that is where people may not feel as comfortable, or they might, but just asking them before you say things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of times too with leaves, because pretty much in every job that I've ever worked at, I actually am a leave expert. And so
But she talks about that shit like she can see
a
it
leave
brushing off her
expert.
shoulder. But the danger is you're gonna get when we get the DMs from people that are like, great, can you advise me on this?
No,
Like,
I know. I'm gonna send them to Jamie.
I am not advising
Because I don't know shit
you
about the-
on
I'm not-
Jamie's the leave
FMLA
expert.
or
she's
leave.
an expert. She's not your expert. Come on now.
Okay.
And
Facts.
Jamie, I need to take a leave.
Anyway, all I was saying to that was a lot of times there are people that are very comfortable with sharing their business, and they'll be like, oh,
Too comfortable.
yeah, too comfortable.
Too comfortable.
And there's some that are not. But and to echo the birthday thing is, I ask that in pre-onboarding. I say, do you want your birthday celebrated?
Yeah.
I ask if they have any dietary restrictions, any allergies.
Oh, that's nice. Getting it
I
there.
ask if even if their anniversary date with the company, would they want that celebrated? Like, I ask all those things because I will then make sure that moving forward, we don't recognize birthdays or even we sign a release for our marketing that they're able to not be included on like any kind of video or photos.
Yeah.
So like just being like aware of other people's needs and wants. And I don't know. I sometimes it like that private group that we're in on Facebook, Ashley and I are constantly tagging each other in posts.
I don't make a post without tagging Jamie. Like just as if she's my conjoined twin.
I'm shocked and
He's
almost
like,
a little,
no, thank you.
a
I know
little,
I'm not on the Facebook.
almost a little disappointed too when sometimes I see
I am shocked
things in
sometimes.
there from because it's an HR professional group. Because I'm like, come on, y'all, like.
I know. I'm glad they're asking the question, but then you're also
Yes, appreciate
Why
that
are
they're
you
at least
asking the
reaching
question?
out and
How do you
asking
know
the question, but at the
Aw.
same time, it's almost a little disappointing because I'm
Right.
like, come on, guys, like,
it's
yes,
just
it's normal.
it's just-
someone if someone doesn't want to,
It's
you
okay.
know, yeah, it's
Everyone's
gonna be okay.
different.
Yeah.
I really just struggle a lot of times with a lot of times people don't want personal information because of that lack of trust, because they've been in
Yes.
situations where they shared things
Yep.
and then they were laid off suddenly.
Yep.
And you're like, I can't do that. And so, but there's other times of like, I've talked about this, both my parents in last January had cancer surgery. My dad was like, not telling anybody, like not telling. And I was like, how do you, like, my mom was like, well, open. My dad
Yeah.
finally did. But like, there's it's just a kind of a different personality. I remember like I hadn't
Yeah.
posted anything about it till like, I did. And,
Yeah.
But the flip side of that is like my mom worked. So she lives in Louisville, but she worked in Frankfurt. Basically, it's like an hour long drive. So many of her colleagues, because I was home for a lot of that, they came, they did meal train,
Oh, wow.
came and supported her, came and like I went to her retirement in December. I went to my dad's recently, and like it's like it's really hard because of that person. I get why people don't want to share that.
Mhm.
But also some of those people you surround yourself with, sometimes having that silver lining of people that you can trust, and like, you go through the ups and downs. They're there to celebrate things, but they're also, you go through the shit, they're there showing up with that meal or that level of support or that text. And those are people like we've talked about this with work besties, still having those text groups of, you got to be mindful of who you share. But as leaders, as HR, one of the privileges you have is to build those levels of trust and to really create that environment where people feel safe sharing whatever they feel comfortable with.
And I think you do that by being a good support.
Yeah.
I think you kind of, what's it? Put your money where your mouth is. I don't know. I'm trying to think of a phrase. I do really suck at adages. I get them all mixed up all the time. Like how I did earlier, 3 shits to the wind. But I think that you model that behavior, create that safe space. Jamie gave such a lovely example of being, so what did you do this weekend? Oh, but you don't have to, don't feel any pressure. I'm just genuinely interested in you.
Jamie
but you don't have to, you don't have to share or whatever, but just being approachable in that way, and creating safe spaces, that allow the people the opportunity, give them at least the recognition that they can share if they like, without forcing it or being like injured. If someone doesn't want to, play the same way that they do, I think that's great, because you do have all types, because again, whatever's happening out there is what's happening in your workplace, all different types of people, and some
and your customer
they're not going to
base.
share.
That's what your customer base is.
And that's okay.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Not being, you have that. This one didn't want to participate in our team building activity. You know what? Like,
or
some people-
even like the outside events from work. Like
right.
I've heard
Yeah.
that so many times. I'm like, okay, well, so and so is a
Whoopity
single dad
doo.
or a
We
single
get that.
mother, and
Yeah.
they have to go.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
we get that comment a lot because we'll say like offering those opportunities I do think matters. But then people
Mhm.
are like, but it cannot be held against you if you don't participate.
Exactly.
And people have seen it is because you see that
Mhm.
situation.
Yeah, those things have got to be optional. Now, I'm curious, have you all ever seen where people bring, their personal lives into work or maybe not, but other people find their personal lives and bring
Oh,
the
yeah.
other people's personal lives into
Oh,
work? You
yeah.
know what I
Sure.
mean? Like people finding my socials and I didn't,
yeah.
I wasn't really
Yeah.
sharing
Oh, yeah.
that, but that's fine. But have you seen a little like, interesting things, criminal activities, behaviors, social
Yeah,
stuff,
not-
accounts, OnlyFans. I mean, you name it. I always get asked if I've had that, but no, not personally.
yeah, I mean, like personally, I've had my TikTok sent like to my own boss. Now, luckily, I had already told my own boss,
Yeah.
what I do. Or,
Surprise, surprise.
Yeah, like they're doing it.
That whole lady.
They're
on
doing it maliciously.
Oh,
That's it.
yeah.
They-
Trying to
people
stick it.
Like, what do they think's gonna
Yeah.
happen? Like,
They're
they're gonna
doing
get
it-
ahead by fucking up your work life.
Yeah, they're doing it maliciously,
Yeah.
but I've
People
already
are-
disclosed. It was on my resume. Or whatever. It wasn't. But you know what I mean?
TikTok
Resume at
It
humorous
wasn't on my resume.
I was like,
have
what?
many-
Wait, what's
I
it on
have
your
many
resume?
followers. I have gathered. A very
no,
strong
chief meme
following.
officer is on my resume with my
there you
LLC.
go.
Now, doesn't really say how many followers I have, but anyway,
It's not a bullet.
yeah, no,
A quantifiable
it's
bullet
a
on
little,
your resume?
but I have had that happen, and I've had people same thing with me, and I always say, okay, well, they're not disparaging the company. They are not wearing something with their company's logo.
Right.
I don't care if they did it during work time because we're flexible.
Right.
Is their work still getting done? Was their last performance review,
Mhm.
5 stars or
Yeah.
or whatever? Like
Ooh, you caught someone doing something?
Yeah,
Oh, thank
right.
you for letting me know.
I really don't care.
Yeah, I don't either.
And even though like drugs, like if
Drugs.
People putting their drugs out on Facebook. Look at my
no,
drug
but, like,
supply.
I have had people.
Who wants
Oh,
some?
I just snort.
Fucking meet me in the cafeteria, fuckers.
I don't know. My mind was like
drugs.
drugs in my butt. I don't know why. I don't know why. Yeah.
You and you're
I'm
going on
drug
a quick job.
mule.
I'm using my PTO. If anyone wants me to bring something back, no luggage, just me. Gotta fit.
No, I just like.
She's like, oh god.
I
It's
know.
like, excuse me.
Because I'm trying to make a point.
I
here.
know.
I'm
Make
sorry,
the
I'm
point.
sorry.
Make the point because
no,
it will
but
be a
like
good one.
someone had a profile picture with like a cloud of smoke,
Oh.
and they were like, "Oh, they're
Ooh.
smoking weed." I'm like,
Maybe their house is on fire, bitch.
yeah.
You should have called the police. Uncaring.
and,
Uncaring.
like then they send it.
What kind of
they
coworker
send
is that?
it-
Rude.
They send it like anonymously to me.
The best. And yeah.
And I'm like, I don't care. They're not coming to work
Anonymous.
fucked up. They're getting their work
So
done.
crazy.
I
do that.
do
They do. They
not-
love the anonymous. I'm gonna send it to Jamie,
Yeah.
Detective Jackson.
Do you
Oh,
know?
for real.
Do you know how many times
Get
like
on the
real.
case.
All the mugshots I've received.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
like from anonymous
Oh,
emails?
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
whatever. Like fucking get a hobby.
It is.
That
And
It
a
is
hobby is not stalking your coworkers' social media. Like
No.
get a fucking life. Like for real.
It is so
I mean,
good.
it's funny because like they say
It is
HR's a
funny.
narc.
No.
no.
Who's the narc, bitch?
No,
Yeah,
I
that's
promise.
right.
That's
You're
one of my
right.
hills to
You're
die
right, but
on.
you're not-
I
you're
never
not-
give a shit. I
No,
never
I
give a
don't
shit.
either. Just
It's
don't
always
come to
your
work-
boss
Yeah.
that comes
Yeah.
to me
Yeah.
complaining,
Just
wanting
don't come
you
to work
fired.
fucked
Yeah.
up,
It's
and
you.
I don't
Ah.
care.
It's
Yeah.
I'm
so-
never
it's-
looking. I
no,
don't.
it's
I do not
totally-
care
I don't have time to
because
look.
that's more work for
But the
me.
thing is, but the problem
Think
is
about
people, it's
it.
like when
don't
HR
wanna
gets
work.
notified, at times we have this obligation to try to do something about it. And so then you're like,
No.
I mean, you don't want to.
Gosh, stop
oh my
obliging
God.
me to do my job.
Oh, it's-
It's so rude.
And, I have a quick story about OnlyFans.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
and so this happened
Save
semi
this for
recently.
the end. I'm excited.
Yeah, and I just feel like this fits right now. But I had a manager approach me and say, "So and so's on OnlyFans," and I looked him dead in the eyes. I said, "How the fuck do you know that?"
Amazing.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
Well,
I love that.
Sir, how do you know
Short
that?
and sweet. Look at that.
And he said, well,
Turn your ass around. Get out of my office.
Yeah, he was like, well, so-and-so told
I'm
me,
sure.
and she told her that she has.
Well,
and
she
I was
probably
like,
should probably give her a raise
and I
then
said-
if she's having to,
Because
I
she's
said-
giving other people raises.
no, I said, okay. I said, have you seen any of it? And he was like, no, you got to pay for it.
Was there a free plan? I don't know. Is there a free plan on OF?
I honestly
I'm
don't
looking
know.
at
I
Jamie.
do not know.
She's
Yeah, I know.
Jackson.
You did, right?
I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I did not dive that deep because once again, I don't give a shit.
Literally, do not care.
I was a little bitchy, but I looked him dead in the face and I said, I know how much we pay her.
No,
So, because I do, and it wasn't a lot. I said I do, like I'm still working there. I was like, I know how much we pay her, and as long as she's not wearing our like
Logo.
swag or merch or have our name
Our
tag,
company thongs.
yeah, our company thongs.
Our branded company thongs.
I was like, I do not care because I see how much we pay her.
HR
and
besties. Let me just-
I literally said to him, I said, bitch can get her bag. Like, I couldn't.
Was this at a happy hour? Or was this like 8:30
No,
a.m.?
this was in my office.
That's a
Well,
I like that.
See, but do y'all see how I am at work? Like, this is how I am.
Oh,
same.
damn.
I tell you what, he shut up real quick and walked out because,
bad.
but and I never told that girl that. Like, I never,
Why? You know what I mean?
but
Right.
like,
But there's some people in HR, and that's where you got to be in HR with confidentiality. Sometimes you shut down that conversation, and you don't need to go tell that person those things.
No.
because One of the
Yeah, I
things
was
that
never-
people
I don't
sometimes
wanna-
would do is go to that person and be like, "People are talking about your
Oh,
OnlyFans,"
I
and then
know.
that person's like
Whoop-de-doo.
goes around and clicks.
yeah,
And so that's why HR can be difficult because sometimes you shut that down. You be the friend to that person. You adjust. You right size
Yeah.
everybody's
Mhm.
expectations
Mhm.
about what they need to know about that,
yeah.
and you keep that to yourself, and it can be hard to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Just know, like on things like that, though, if you were to have gone to her, she'd probably be and say, oh, people have seen your content. She'd probably say, good.
Yeah.
I mean, because people,
Right.
oh,
They're a subscriber.
That
people
means
found
it's-
your TikTok, Lee.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay.
Good, fantastic.
Yeah. Oh, fantastic.
kind of
I hope
the
they
point.
liked it.
Yeah.
I know, that is the point,
Yeah,
right?
Right,
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
you're
So-
like, that's a good
Yeah,
great reach.
yeah.
Fantastic.
That'd be crazy though if like her boss is subscribing or something. Like, that's just interesting. My
well,
mind
I
went
get
there.
it. Lawyer Ashley has,
Yeah.
has definitely
Yeah.
me is I won't talk in the third person. It's just me.
Your
he ha-
OnlyFans? Is that what
well,
no.
no.
You're talking about your
I told
OnlyFans.
we're gonna reach. I'm gonna read. I'm gonna
Where
read.
she reads,
I'm
like-
gonna read Babysitters Club books. So I'm gonna start with super specials. It's
I'm
gonna
sure
well
that's a kink.
that's the premium content. Those are long.
Oh yeah, those are longer.
But I'll read the graphic novels first. But is when people on social media are complaining about things, and in the U.S. in particular, there's protections around that, and that's, let me tell you, what's a real fun conversation for me to explain to people. Section 7 of the National Labor Relations Act, where two or more. I'm like, well, if that person did it, if somebody else liked their post, but just my rule of my guiding line, I won't say rule of thumb because that's not that has some origins. That's not a good thing to say.
Yeah. Don't say
So
rule of
don't
thumb.
say that. But
Allegedly.
the general is, when people complain on social media, people have a lot more legal. I say people have a lot more legal rights. And if I'm talking to you, you don't want to have this conversation with me. I don't want to have this conversation with you about the legal rights and, to talk about terms and conditions of employment. But just know you'll sound like an even bigger asshole if you're, someone's griping about you. Or we'll see now where people are like, oh, they liked one of like your all's posts
Yep.
about like
Like, fuck
workplaces.
this company.
And
Yeah.
we've had that when
Yep,
then people
yep.
are like, we've literally had that.
I've had
People liked it, and so then someone prints it out
Yep.
and brings it to their boss and just, please,
Yep.
that's so weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People,
People be
Mhm.
PvP.
People
be
be peopling. And to that point,
Yeah.
I think we will transition to some questions and comments.
I have a comment, and
Do
this
you?
is me getting on a soapbox, but
Okay.
I feel like it kind of fits our topic today, which is like dress codes. So
Mhm.
I have always had a huge issue with dress codes because I think they're sexist, and I think they're actually sometimes can be rather racist.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always had an issue with them, but I think dress code is your authentic self. And so things I can think of off the top of my head were like, for instance, cleavage. like, yes, there does need to be some level of professionalism, sure, but there are women with much bigger, larger chests than mine. And
she went from breast to chest real quick. Like, oh, we gotta be
breast,
professional.
chest, whatever.
We gotta be professional on this
but
podcast.
no, but like, you know, they're not gonna be able to find T-shirts or whatever as readily
you ain't
as
hiding
I am.
those. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And like, the boss that asked me to get her coffee on their first day, she used to come in my cube and stand directly behind me, and I would literally be wearing a shirt maybe like a little bit, like probably on my collarbone, and she'd be like, well, I can see your cleavage. I'm like, bitch, you're looking down my fucking shirt.
Literally.
I did say that to her, but the third time I was like, well, I was like, no one comes. No, because I was mostly servicing the field, so no one was ever in our corporate office to come up behind me and look down my shirt. I mean, I don't have big boobs. Anyway, so that, I hate, you know, nails, when nails are an issue, that pisses me off.
Professional hairstyle, natural
professional
hairstyle.
Yeah. Those, like I said, I'll get on a soapbox. One, I'm HR. I'm not the fucking fashion police. If they can do their job correctly, efficiently, I don't give a shit. What they fucking wear, what their nails look like, what their hair looks like. I understand that we might have a dress code, but if they're within the dress, like not a dress code, I'm sorry, a uniform.
Right.
What, like, you know what I mean? Like, I just, I hate, I really, and sometimes, like, for instance, I remember the same company actually that I had the bitch boss, the coffee. We had a center in Florida. It was our billing office, and our CFO was hell bent on getting the women to wear specific footwear, like heels.
Oh god!
In like South Florida. Well, no, he was like
when women just wear the shoe. Let me just show you. This.
Well, he was a silver spoon baby, so like he had a very like a picture perfect ideal of what. And I remember like having to point blank. I was real catty, but I literally brought up our billing office and what they made, and I said, where. And you want to make this effective Monday. So that means they have to spend the weekend on a not even a pay cycle weekend buying all new shoes because you don't want to allow them to wear sandals in South Florida. I said, flip-flops, fine. We'll say no flip-flops. But sandals? But like, this is the shit coming from executives, and I have to execute. And I am fighting for as much as I can. And I did finally get him to agree, and he was hell bent on also not having women wear leggings in this billing office, which
I've had the leggings.
I also do not give a shit about leggings, but I'm like, where do you expect them to go get 5 days a week worth of dress pants for the $17 an hour that you're paying them?
In Florida too.
Yeah.
Right. Like, that's so hard. No, I know.
I was.
Yeah.
And also, like, people are generally sitting in their cubes or things like that. So it's really, like, maybe going up and going to the bathroom, like, well, that's distracting. Well, like,
and it was, I think there was like maybe 2 men in that whole fucking, it was
like
just
a control thing.
But
like no golf shirts.
Hate.
Right?
Banned. Oh, yeah.
What?
I do not like dress codes. I mean, I understand that sometimes there needs to be some sort of guideline. But like I said, I do not want to be the fashion police. Sorry, that was
no.
Guns blazing on that, but
I don't disagree. So I do have a comment, not a question, if I may. I think it's relevant to this conversation, which is good. I'm relevant for once, so that's nice. I just wanted to point that out. But I had a follower slide into my DMs. Are you only supposed to say that if it's sexual? Probably.
I don't know.
Someone DM'd me because the slide is kind of like
it suggests a motive.
Anyway, okay that. Sorry about that. I got on a tangent.
You need lube for sliding?
Yeah, the motion lotion. But anyways, so a follower DM'd me. And she shared with me, and I may have shared this with y'all. I didn't share it with all y'all, the besties. But she shared with me that she was called into the HR office, and they had evidence of her liking one of my videos. And the video was of me pretending to be a boss. Was I pretending to be a boss? No, I was an employee pretending to talk to my boss about their policy and position on remote work. And I was not happy with it, I think is what it was. And the HR person said, hey, we've gotten a complaint that you liked HR Manifesto's video, and it's about remote work. And so you're obviously very angry at your boss is what this tells us because you liked it. And she was like in shock. I was like, oh my God, like, bless your heart. You're risking it all to follow me. I was like, I appreciate you so much.
Fucking appalling.
Appalling. Embarrassing. And I was like, girl, that's a parade of red flags. That type of
the
control.
Fuck out of there. Brush
I was like,
up your
and then what did you do? Literally, I said, and then what did you do? Please tell me. I know she blocked everyone from her office, anyone she could think of that was watching her, following her. But that is gross. If you are wasting your time doing that, get yourself a real job. Like, you have way too much time on your hands. I hope that HR person doesn't listen to this podcast. I'd be shocked if they did.
Yeah, that's not
that is a
behavior.
Gross overreach.
Well, and then
that is disgusting.
It can be a hard position when you're in HR. When you're in HR and the leader is there, somebody's like, we heard about this because obviously, there's a flurry of things in HR. You got to find a way to bring that common sense in. That is one of the best characteristics of being able to like coach and saying like, okay, in this situation, like, what? And saying, how is that going to sound if we talk to someone and say, we saw that you liked a post?
Yes. They threatened her. They threatened her employment.
Exactly. And
for liking a video on the internet. It could have even been an accident. You know what I'm saying? Like, someone just got like, prove that what? Now you're mad at your boss?
I can envision being in front of like a mock jury and something. And this being the kid, this was the reason for like that. Trust me, those people will be like, they will be doling out your dollars to pay that person.
Heart.
I mean,
my God.
So, but in HR,
I also like the video of the wiener dog. Like, what does that say?
Does that mean my boss is a dick?
Yeah.
I mean, you know what I mean? Like, what is that? Like, you're really, come on. You know what I mean? This is social. Ain't that deep, okay? Like, maybe she just liked my eyelashes. Fuck, and liked the video.
Yeah.
Anyway, so thank you for risking it all, following me. Like, really, thank you so much. We're all, if you're liking me, you may lose your job. You know what I'm saying?
I can't even.
I shouldn't probably put that out there, but.
Even.
But thank you for following me if you're listening. Question or comment, Ashley?
Just find out comment is
close us out.
We'll bookend it. As I started the restaurants, one of the nice things about working in a restaurant at times is having to wear those god-awful black no-slip shoes.
Oh, gosh,
And so, but the nice thing about them
they
is...
support your feet, though.
They do. And generally, like, there are a lot of shoe stores and big box stores will support the restaurant industry. So oftentimes you can get those for like less than $20, which is good. Or ideally, the employer provides those. But sometimes it's nice to not have to choose something else going to work. And so having a nice pair of comfy no-slip shoes can be better than trying to figure out what kind of sandal am I going to wear and is that going to end me up in HR's office today. But I've had those shoes and they're beautiful.
They're orthopedic-ish. No?
Yeah, I like a good. I have to admit, I like a good orthopedic shoe or bad orthopedic shoe, just an orthopedic shoe. So yeah.
Thank you for bringing your true self to this meeting. With that, I really, you're bringing your personal lives here to the workplace.
I have a like for that. So there you go.
Look at us. It's inclusivity in action.
Yeah. Lee would not agree with me on the style aspect of it. She's very fashion on the foot.
Well,
but a good comfy shoe is nice.
Yeah. Well, I like a comfy shoe. I do like a comfy shoe. But on that note, thank you both for being so you, especially in this meeting. And if you are listening, we hope you have the opportunity to be you wherever you choose to be. So we are thankful for all y'all, as I would say, all Texan and shit. But thank you so much for listening, besties. Enjoy the rest of your day.